Welcome. This is Barry Jones from the Angel School, and we're here for our weekly angel reading for February the 1st through the 7th, 2021. So before we begin, I'd just like to welcome everyone here, and especially if you are watching my channel for the first time. So how this works generally is that this is kind of like a two-part reading where the first part is sort of a meditation slash just general information I'm getting from the angels about the week. And then somewhere about halfway through the video, I take a look at the cards and the messages that we're getting from the angels, as well through the tarot cards and the oracle card, which I pull from an angel oracle deck by Doreen Virtue of Archangels. Sorry. So just be aware of that. So before I begin, I'd just like to also just highlight some of the things that happen on the channel. The monthly angel scopes, which are for readings, the 12 zodiac signs. I do a reading for each zodiac sign for the month, and I call them monthly angel scopes. Those will be coming out this week. I have a very busy week, but I'm going to try to get them done. I try to post them I can't post them all at one time. Sometimes I do, but I may wait to do them all. But however I get them out, just know that they're all going to be there eventually, okay? And so I have a few areas where you can find the videos, obviously here on YouTube, but also on my Facebook page. There's a link below there, and my Twitter page. So between those, you can find the information that I post here. The other thing that I post are daily card messages. So they're written messages, and I post them as well on these different media platforms, social media platforms. So be on the lookout for those. And of course, you're watching the weekly angel readings, which I do every week. And lastly, if you're looking for an angel reading with me, I have my website, theangelschool.com. You can go there. There's a link below on the services page. And right now, since the pandemic last year, I've been offering my half-hour reading for $77 for 1 full hour. So this is open to everyone, and there are no restrictions about how many times you can participate in this offer. So it's just there and available during the pandemic to help offset any financial obligations that you may have. If this is something you feel like you need, then you're more than welcome. Don't think twice about it. So you would just go to my page, theangelschool.com service page. You would select the half-hour reading as is, the $77 offer. And then within 24 hours on the first business day, I will send you a confirmation email noting the special offer, okay, for February. So the appointment availability is usually like a couple of weeks out, so just be aware of that. It could be sooner, but I only give appointments in the order that I receive them. So I ask you to submit your availability time and dates for about 3 weeks ahead, within that 3-week period, so that I just have all the information I need as I'm working on each person's reading, which I sit and I meditate with the angels to pick the best time that is optimal for your reading. So just be aware of that. So don't try to, that'll come in the email. Don't try to fill out that thing. I think it's broken on my website. So I'm going to just have it removed anyway, eventually. Okay, so let's begin. And take a deep breath. And just really Connect in with your heart space. And be aware of the enormous love that resides within you as you just sort of crack open the surface of just taking time for yourself and breathing and feeling the relaxation throughout your body as you just simply breathe. And be aware of any tension in your body, especially if you feel it around your neck or your shoulders. And let that be a sign for you of just being aware of letting go. And also be aware of this on a daily basis, because sometimes we hold, tension in certain areas of our body. We're compensating for something that's stressing us, something that we're finding uncomfortable. And you want your body to be as flexible and receptive as possible. So just be aware of this in your practice, to pay attention to where you're holding tension. And just continue to take that journey inward and feeling your heart chakra just expand as you relax your body and as you let go of any tension. And your angels are showing up. They're coming in with beautiful wings. And I get a sense that these angels have sort of blue, cobalt blue wings. And that these are the angels who accompany Archangel Michael. And so Archangel Michael is with you and his angels, and they are surrounding you and providing you protection, providing you support and confidence to help clear your path, to help you to breathe more easily each day. So Archangel Michael is asking you to really call upon him to help you to be more centered and grounded and to really focus on your soul's purpose, your plan. And he's asking you to give permission to his angels and himself to sort of help you find that inner peace and confidence, to help orchestrate outcomes for your divine life purpose and for the things that you have to do in the day. So to really call them in. And Archangel Gabriel is also coming in as well. And I get a sense that you might be struggling or having some struggling with articulating yourself or communicating your ideas. Now, whether that's to yourself, so that if you're trying to, maybe you're having some creative blocks and you're really trying to articulate what your soul purpose is and what your soul is trying to convey to you at this time, and what are your soul's priorities. And so Archangel Gabriel, along with Archangel Michael, can help you with this. If you're having problems with people that you're working with or people outside of you in something you're involved in, Archangel Gabriel can help you to communicate and articulate what's on your mind and what's on your heart, as well as Archangel Michael can help to boost your give you courage. Excuse me. And I keep clearing my throat, so it's interesting, right? To give you the courage to say what needs to be said, and to trust your heart that what needs to be said is what needs to be heard in order for that breakthrough to happen, in order for that light bulb to go off, or for that understanding to be really clear. And I feel like it inspires and gives everybody a sense of purpose. So it's really important that you don't allow yourself, I think sometimes being sensitive and in terms of being empathic, that we are afraid to speak for fear that we're going to rub people the wrong way, or hurt feelings, or you're just worried about all kinds of things, and you would never do anything like this intentionally. But you really have to trust that when you call upon your angels and you know that they're there with you, that they're inspiring you, and that these are the things that people need to hear. It's not your role to protect people from what you think they need protection from, because the thing that you're protecting them from might be the actual thing that they need in order to really get moving in the direction of their life purpose. So they're never going to encourage you to humiliate or someone in any way, or to crush someone's spirit. That's not what they're ever going to do, and you're nowhere near that. But to you, being very sensitive and empathic, it seems it's like, I can't even find the analogy to, but it's almost like as if, gosh, I hope this isn't offensive, but here we go with that kind of thing, right? But it's almost as if you were to, maybe to certain people, if you were to, let's say the chalkboard, that make that screeching sound, to an empath, it feels that sensitive, right? When it's really not that way for the people who are receiving it. And so you just have to be aware of that, okay? And not to try not to compensate for the way that you're picking things up. And, your gift is a gift, but try not to overthink what you're doing. That's the whole point. Don't think about it too much, but keep remaining focused in the channel of love. I call it channeling the love. Just, pay attention to the channel of love that's in your heart. Your heart chakra will open, and it will fill up with more love as you speak, and let you know that you're doing the right thing, and that what you're doing is, the word they keep writing, is providing clarity. Now, it's also interesting because today, and January 30th, is the beginning of the Mercury retrograde. So, it's going to be really important for you to be clear, right? And to not filter with your judgment so much what you have to say, but trust your heart. So I feel like this is the way to really navigate the Mercury retrograde, is to just do everything that your heart guides you to do, because it's like this is an opportunity for us to to really focus more on our hearts, because we often don't listen intensely enough to our hearts. And the Mercury retrograde, this is just what's coming to me right now. I could be wrong, but the Mercury retrograde gives us the opportunity, kind of forces us to rely on our hearts and that communication. And Archangel Chamuel is coming through right now. And he wants to just help you with your heart chakra and to just give him permission to touch your heart chakra and to activate it. And to activate it with the highest frequency of integrity. And just take a deep breath and breathe into all the petals of your heart chakra. They're like 33 petals. So breathe into all of those chambers of your heart chakra. And giving Archangel Chamuel access to all of those chambers of your chakra and to light them up with the highest frequency of cosmic love, so that you can really have the clearest vibration of intuition and clairsentience, so that you receive the most accurate divine guidance, and that you're able to trust your heart and open your heart and allow yourself to be compassionate during this retrograde. Compassionate with yourself. Really practice compassion and compassion for others. So before you might get, angry or upset with someone, take a deep breath and breathe into your heart chakra and literally, see your heart chakra opening and expanding. Just take that time and really feel the joy of your heart chakra. Just wait until your heart chakra is just radiating with joy, just beaming with joy. You'll know that at that point you have fully opened your heart and that you're in alignment with the universe. As there's writing out. So let's make this month about the heart, right? Our heart chakras, and really focusing on our heart chakras in this month of February. We have Valentine's Day. And so this practice of compassion and every day working with the angels, especially Archangel Chamuel, who's in charge of the heart chakra, to open your heart. Now, the fifth dimensional heart chakra is this white with pale pink, right? So very pale pink sprinkled throughout. So working with Archangel Chamuel and asking him to touch your heart chakra and bring in that high frequency of cosmic love. And, making sure that all of those chambers are filled with that light and that you are being as receptive as possible is going to help open you up to a new frequency of integrity. So that should bring you in alignment with love matches and relationship harmony on a whole new level. If you're doing this work throughout this month. But let's not just make it about love matches, although that is, think the general, and then focus on the integrity of your heart chakra, and then let everything in your life transform as a result of this. And just notice what happens to you throughout this month. Okay, let's take a look at the Archangel message for, and we have Archangel Gabriel. So we did. And this is the card of leadership. And Archangel Gabriel's name means the strength of God. And so the trumpet there. And it's interesting. So, don't be afraid to stand in your truth this month. Don't be afraid to speak your truth. Don't be afraid to toot your own horn this month. All right? Don't be afraid to express yourself. Don't, in terms of love. And the thing about it is, again, and all of this is sort of a spiritual practice, what we're talking about here. So this month, and then this week in particular, don't be afraid to express your feelings, the love that's in your heart. Don't be afraid to share. Now, your heart chakra is going to be open. And so don't be afraid to share that love. There's so much profound healing, inspiration, in this, the compassion. And as you're offering and giving this to others, you are receiving the rewards and the benefits of this. So it's going to really be interesting about, the throat chakra and getting something out, really clearing out, being open and honest. And in this way, we are really leaders in this way. So we're being that role model, that example for others who come into and who encounter our generosity, our liberal expression of love and compassion. This is a gift. And we've gotten in the habit over the last, let me just take a sip of water. The last 4 to 5 years of really tearing each other apart, right? And our mindsets have been so anxious and so critical because of worry and all kinds of things. We're triggering us, right? So we've been really triggered, and we've been triggered to be negative. And so it'll be an enormous gift to the world and to your community if you sort of, this campaign of, just sharing your generous love from your heart, and the words and the things that you say and the things that you do, and in the ways that you appreciate life, and be vocal about this appreciation because it's contagious. Okay? So this is the feeling of leadership. I feel like we just need to get this month off to a great start, and we need to start jump-starting this year 2021 with this new campaign of love. And so wherever you do, whatever work that you do, or whatever it is you do all day, this is your purpose. One of your important purposes for this time is to bring back into not to bring back, but to channel this love. Because you're not bringing back what was, you're bringing something even higher than what was before. So now it's our job to channel this new frequency of light and just see how this affects your week and your life. All right, that this is still that service piece that we're talking about, right? So we're doing this for the greater good of all. And when we do things for the greater good of all, we're impacted, because if you're doing it for all, then you are a part of that all. And this is why moving away from self-interest to service is just so important. All right, let's take a look at the card for the beginning of the week. So it's the 4 of Pentacles. Now, this deck, as I just keep saying, when I do the writings, I call them the shimmering ones, because She has a deck called the Devas of Creation, and a lot of the images that you see in the cards seem to look like these devas. This here is in her deck is called the Guardian. It's a guardian angel who helps motivate you when you are sort of sitting back and not really moving on your life purpose. So this guardian, as she calls it, the guardian is a deva, the guardian, is for that, is doing that particular thing. And it's interesting here because the Four of Pentacles, it usually shows someone holding, onto all their resources really tightly, right? And so the idea here is, I always see this card and the figure is right here in the corner. It's a little hard to see some things in this card because of the art style, but the figure here in the corner is holding on to some coins there. And I always see this card as the talents. It reminds me of the parable of the talents, and hiding them under a bushel and not using them. So, sometimes people may see this card as like, oh, holding on to everything you got, because you might be running into some trouble financially. So you want to hold on to everything. But, this is about using your resources wisely, right? But it's also not being afraid to use your gifts and your talents. And we see this skyline of a city in the background. So, there is all of this potential. And right now, we're all kind of feeling like we need to really be careful. But this is the time to really be generous in other ways. So in this week, listen to your angels. Listen to the ways that they're nudging you. Don't be afraid of certain risks. Don't be afraid. And of course, a risk defined by the ego is stepping outside of the comfort zone, because the ego doesn't want, any action, basically. That's why you might find yourself stagnating. The ego doesn't want any action. The ego wants to play it safe because it doesn't understand where you're going. The ego doesn't understand, is very afraid of the unknown, things it can't control, which is why we get into these patterns of trying to control and wanting to be in control. And then we don't take risks, meaning we don't step out of our comfort zone because we don't have control. We don't know how to control it because we don't know what it is. And this is not a good reason to hold on to what you have. So you got to make sure that you're doing what you're doing, not because of ego, but you want to do it, you want to follow what your heart is guiding you to do, because we're here to give, to provide services with our resources and our talents that helps all rise to the top and thrive. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the card for the middle of the week. Now we have this card coming up actually for Tuesday in this week's reading. This is the King of Fire. And according to the author, this is Chiron. Oh my goodness. Now when I see the word, I know how to say it. Chiron, the centaur. Or it could be the horn god, Cernunnos, I think it's how it's pronounced. So this is the King of Fire. This figure here is another shimmering one. And what's interesting is that he's sort of in between the veils. It's like he's coming through the veil. So this is removing the obstacles, okay? And you may have been feeling stuck or having some kind of creative block, okay, which is another way I see this too, this Four of Pentacles. Maybe you had a creative block. And again, this, why we're seeing him kind of blurred is because of the veil of illusion. So he's sort of in the standing in the threshold of the veil of illusion. So between our two realities. And you can see he brings that fire. He's stirring up that spiritual fire, bringing in that creativity, lighting things up for us. And in his hand, he has this crystal lattice, which I see this as like some kind of, power, like a power charger. And I see this as a symbolism for our spiritual activation of our soul contracts and our soul, our life purpose. And so he's coming to get you, to light the fire right underneath us, and to inspire us, to get us motivated and to focus on this, to really get focused. You can see barely, but he's very muscular, he's strong. So this gives you a sense of passion, energy, desire, and leadership. So we have this leadership here theme starting out. And so this is your time now in this week to really work through and to really pay attention. Where are you holding back? Why are you holding back? And if you're feeling stressed or restlessness, then that means that there's a divine purpose unfolding within you, and you're being strongly, nudged by your angels and Archangel Michael, and that's why they're all with you, to have courage, okay, to stand in your truth, to be generous, not to be afraid to be in the spotlight. And know it can be uncomfortable. Even just answering a question or offering an opinion in a meeting is like stepping into the spotlight. And for certain people, that is really horrible. It's like tragic almost. It feels tragic to them, because it just, everything in their mind is telling them, how horrible, how silly they're going to sound. They're probably saying stupid, that people are not going to like what I'm going to say. They're going to think I'm, they're going to kick me off the team, blah, blah, all that stuff. And what Archangel Michael wants you to do is to call upon him and ask him to boost your confidence and your faith. And he's writing the word truth, to help you to stand in your truth. Ask him to help you to stand in your truth. And he will place around you a cloak, his cloak. So he's going to do that now. And he's going to put in your hand a sword of truth. So imagine when you're speaking, it's sort of like the force, I can't even think of anything in Star Wars with the, you know what I'm talking about, the laser things, right? So imagine you have that in your hand and it's blazing, with light and truth. And, just have that confidence that what you're saying, you're speaking your truth. You're speaking the truth that's in your heart. And and your heart is activating it. And you just listen to your heart and listen to the words, speak the words that come from your heart. And you will see that the reception you receive is completely different than what you think. Okay? So, in the best way, I feel like with this card too, is the best way to get out of a rut, like if you've been feeling stuck, is to just start doing it. And instead of criticizing, start noticing. So, when I was, before I met my last voice teacher, I could not practice sing a note without, first of all, I couldn't even get through the entire piece. I would just keep stopping and I would criticize myself. I would, and I don't even, all the thoughts that were going through my head were just horrendous. And so when I started working with her, she taught me to say interesting. And what that did was it allowed me to notice what was going on in my body. And so as I got in the habit of noticing what was going on in my body, I actually started to notice the relationship between my voice and my mind. course, then the second piece of this was, and I write about this week too, was then we always imagined, because now when you imagine, you go into that creative space, and that creative relationship between the mind and the body is very different. It's like watching two geniuses connect, and in terms of function and creativity, possibilities. So, you know, practice noticing. Practice noticing. Just say interesting. Because everything that happens, there's something to learn from it. So if you're judging yourself and you're not learning, but all you feel is defeated, then you're not doing it right. It's okay to critique, but if you're not learning anything from the critique, then you're hurting yourself. So stop that. All right? So it really helped me. Interesting. That was my comment before I could say, oh, darn, or damn it, all that stuff. Like, oh, how come I can't do this? See, that's a waste of energy. Because you're just, the moment happened, your body and your mind, your mind took a snapshot of what just happened. And instead of you noticing what went wrong, you're over here on a tangent about, this emotional tangent that you keep repeating like a broken record. Like nothing is happening. You're not getting anything out of that. So stop doing that. Okay, so let's take a look at the card for the end of the week. And this card hasn't come up yet, but this is the 8 of Air. So this is the 8 of Swords. So we have Pentacles, we have fire and air. We have 3 out of the 4 elements here. So, and what you see here is a man tied. You may not be able to see it because the string is so light, but he's tied to this pole standing in a mountainous area where the winds are really just beating up against him. And isn't that interesting? See, it's that symbolism of the mind, air, your mind, beating up on you. And what does it do? It's like you're trapped. You can't, when you beat up on yourself in this way, you can't move. You immobilize yourself. You destabilize your situation, and you disable yourself as well. So what happens is that your harsh criticism becomes a disability, because you keep practicing that same emotional thought combination, behavior, attitude, and now it becomes an ingrained disability. It becomes like a disease that now you have to literally get, work to have it healed or removed, however it manifests. So it's very important that you do not beat up on yourself. Okay? And so this is saying here, it's very interesting, that, look at this. This affects your material life, the Pentacles. So, your mind here, and when you're not focused on fire, when you're not focused on your passions, so the fire has to do with your passions, your beliefs, right? So, and also it's the sort of action or energy, like it's the masculine. So that action, right? So the thing is that, you don't want to just, first of all, you don't want to not get anything done. And at the same time, you don't want to keep moving where you don't make time to be aware, okay, with the mind, with your mind, imagination, be aware of what's going on. So it's this balance that one has to strike. But you can see that how these 3 elements are affecting each other. So, if you're beating down on yourself, then it just trickles down into your material world in terms of your resources, your gifts, and your abilities. It all gets stifled and held in. And at the same time, if you don't open yourself to your passions, if you don't focus on them in a way that's constructive, that's inspiring, because the king of fire, he motivates. People are drawn to him because he's inspiring. So the idea here is that you have to find a way to motivate yourself by being compassionate, by being generous. And this whole heart thing is going to be so key to this. Opening up your heart, practicing this generosity, see, and giving it to other people, and doing it out loud, you shift some of this mental entanglement, this attitude that imprisons you. So this is why I was saying, I know we all want to, when you come to this month and we think about this, it's about love and relationships and everybody, we tend to get really stuck on, and I know it's important because we're human beings, but I find that, and I know it for myself as well, you make everything about whether or not you're in a relationship, whether you're success or failure. And then there are all these other reasons for us to focus on our heart. Our heart chakra is not just about relationships, but our heart chakra is the chalice of love, right? And that love informs all of these other areas. Love is critically important to our resources, our finances, our home life, that we do these things with love, that we create a space that's loving, that reflects that heart space, that we are engaged in work that reflects that love. The heart chakra is there to help us to fall in love with all aspects of life, especially loving ourselves in terms of how we speak to ourselves and to each other. Because when we're not practicing love, dysfunction intercedes and corrodes our path. All right, so here's a card we pull from the bottom of the deck, and it's the Six of Wands, okay? This is a very unique deck in terms of its art, because it's really these are paintings here. And she uses a very different language than artistic language that in terms of the symbolism of the tarot than we're used to seeing. But it's just incredibly inspiring. And of course, so we have the Six of Fire, which is the element of fire again. And this is a card of success. I mean, here she's depicted, and this just makes so much sense, doesn't it? You can see it already, coming out of some kind of cave or the canal of some sort. It almost, with this redness, it almost feels like you're coming out of your own, belly, or coming out of the belly of something, like the belly of the whale, right? And finally breaking free and stepping into the light, where you've just been feeling like you've just been in this darkness, you've been in this very dark, scary, lonely place. And for the first time, there's light, right? And that means freedom, but you can't see. And, it's all just filled with light. And that energy of light, just sort of that, for me, that infinite possibilities and bright, brilliant possibilities. But sometimes we're scared of that. That's what we're really scared of, is getting to that point that's outside of our cycles, outside of our comfort zones, because now we realize as we're standing at the threshold, oops, I don't know that. And now I have to actually start all over again. And you think to yourself, well, it's better to stay in the cave. At least I know how to fight the demons in there that harass me. At least I know how to navigate them. I have a lot of practice with that. And so we're afraid to step outside into that light where we don't know what's out there. But the thing about this white light is that it's like a blank canvas. And for the first time, you really get to create what what shows up out there. If we were to really step into our power here and take on this leadership role and really activate our hearts and put into to practice this generosity of love, compassion, appreciation, uplifting others, and taking and loving ourselves. Shine that light on others and shine it back on yourself as well. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Do for them what you would do, and make sure you do for yourself the same, right? But it takes courage to step out there, and it also takes courage to love. It takes courage to love. And I'm not talking about, again, finding love, a soulmate. I'm not talking about that. It takes courage to love. To love the world, to love a country or people or people who we don't like. It takes courage to love them. But the thing that you don't realize is that you have this kind of courage in abundance. And this is why we have angels. Because this is what they do 24/7. And they're there, the angelic realm is there to, first of all, their purpose is to work with us. They have been assigned to us. And so God has placed them there to be an example of our own ability to have this similar courage to love. Yes, we're humans. We're in a physical body. We're in a human experience, and we're not going to always be like that. And that is not at all is what is expected. But we are given the opportunity to think outside of the box of our ego and to actually make every effort to do so. And we can. And this is how we win. This is your success, because it trickles down into every element of your life. Your talents, your gifts, your resources, your material world, your home, the possessions you own, all of this kind of action, okay, trickles down into this. It trickles down into your ability to be inspiring, to be a channel of the, creativity. Creativity, we hear this word, we just over and over again, but this is so important to us as human beings, because we are sons and daughters of a creator. This is like the center of our heart, to create love, to transform that love into physical manifestations, terms, expressions. This is why the arts is so important. And all of the innovations that our world produces comes out of that same mindset, just expressed in different ways, like technology or science or you know what I'm getting at. But this is at the core of who we are, even in terms of being parents, right? Teachers. It's all creativity. And this trickles down in our mind. Our mental health is so important. And we must be generous. We must, really articulate this love in order, especially back to ourselves. But when we are practicing it with others, then we get in the habit of thinking and noticing how we're treating ourselves, and then adjust accordingly. So I got to stop because I didn't realize that the video has gone this long. But the last word I'm saying is network. So this week, think about that when you open up your heart, that you are giving to the entire network of oneness. Have a beautiful week, and God bless you.